So hello everyone, welcome to a YouTube video. Exciting times. We are now at the point where we are ready to release the free view of our IPS Toolkit. Now I'm going to try and answer some questions quickly around that's come in, and on screen you're seeing right now the full IPS, what we're calling IPS Toolkit Pro. And we're calling it IPS Toolkit Pro because it's far bigger than the original IPS Toolkit that we created around Mind Manager, which allowed us to create DMRLs and define SNS structures and those kind of things. However, IPS Toolkit Pro, today we're focusing on the free view, and the free view was something that we toiled with for a little while. We weren't sure whether we wanted to make it completely free or whether we wanted it to be something that you had to pay a nominal fee for. Anyway, we've kind of come up with after speaking to some people who know better than I, the best kind of models for us to come up with. So I'm going to talk to you about FreeView, what it does, why it works in a certain way. Let me just tap this camera quickly, and hopefully that is tracking me. There we go. So what I want to do is tell you what's available in the free version of the tool, and at the end I will tell you how you can gain access to it, to download the beta of the tool. I know that there are still some things. I'm a bit of an A-type personality. Everything I do has to be absolutely perfect, and often Claire has to kind of put me in check. And the reality is that I know that there are still some issues with it that I personally, some of you probably will not even see it, but I know that they're there. But I wanted to get this thing out on the streets so we could get some community feedback and make this tool something that we could all work and use together. Anyway, so what was it that I want to say before we get into this? What's the point of this tool? The point of this tool is that when we are learning S1000D, or we're trying to understand the mechanics of S1000D, we have to download a bunch of XML files, HTML files if you're in antiquated versions of the specification. But the reality is that they don't help anybody understand anything. And, I've been training clients how to do and use and get the best out of things like S1000D for many years now. And the best way to learn this stuff is to have some visualizations around how this stuff actually works. And, the idea here is that one, at the content creator, or I call it the S1000D developer level, we need to understand all of the relationships between what's going on inside all of the structures and what the specification's trying to tell us to do. But at the flip side, we also have those that are buying S1000D and they don't know why it's greater than a technical publication, and why it's much more than just writing a bunch of Word documents and publishing a PDF, for example. Or we also have the other scenario that I've seen, is that we have to sell the adoption of S1000D internally to investors, to our bean counters, to those who are actually going to sign off on investing in something like S1000D. And we're not going to get into why S1000D is exponentially more expensive, but also gives us return on investment, not in this video. So I'm going to show you what's available in the free version of the tool. So hopefully on screen you're seeing me and hearing me and all those kind of things. Anyway, what you have right now is a redacted version of the IPS Toolkit Pro that is on screen, and inside the S1000D tools we have something down here called spec view. And spec view is it's part of the bigger tool, but I wanted to make a free subset of this tool. And the subset of the tool is, I'm just going to kill it and then reopen it because it's just easier for me to show you what's going on. It's a Windows installer, 32-bit, 64-bit. It's a macOS installer, and I'll tell you, like I say at the end, how to gain access to it. So it's a subset installer of the main studio. And so here it is loading up right now. And the first thing that we will get is, I'm showing you on the Mac because it's just easier for me to record it here on the Mac. Here you'll get a disclaimer to say that we don't own and nor do we endorse or support the development of the S1000D Bike Dataset, and it tells you how to get in touch with those that do. So what we're saying in this little acknowledgement here is that if you make a decision based on the bike data, that's on you, that's not on us. This tool is to show you the relationship between all of the content types. So what's coming on? So here, exactly the same kind of interface that you are going to see when you come into the FreeView. And so what do we have up here? Support, etc. I think you can figure out what that is. But here we can install our license key. You will need to download the installer from our website, and then via our website, I'll show you that at the end, you'll need to make a request for a license key. On the FreeView, we're just going to give you a lifetime license, so it's not going to expire. The only thing that will kill it is technology changes, or if you want to upgrade it to some more free features, etc. But in the license, you will just add in here your own license key. So if we come into the IPS FreeView, again, another disclaimer just to say that, you know, we are not responsible for the bike data set, etc. Make no claim to it. There's three options here. Clearly, you can see that one of them is active and two of them are inactive. And I'll show you how we can upgrade this license. So like I said, I've gone for a medium-ware type approach where we're looking at how, you know, you can get the best out of it for free, but if you want to buy a license and get some pretty, what I think are some pretty decent features. Anyway, let's get into the tool. IPS FreeView. We're going to go, you can have a look at what's inside. This is an interactive table. One thing I haven't added here, which I do need to add here, is the fact that we also include the dig Brex module. So it's going to list all of the Brex modules that are in here. Originally, I was going to put release notes and support notes in here. Essentially, now it just pushes you to the website and says, go and read on the website, because then it means I just have to maintain it in one place. I could get clever and try and call it from the website and put it in here, but the majority of you are going to be using this behind firewalls, etc. That's not going to happen. We have our intellectual property, an S1000D ASD statement to say that I don't warrant this data, I make no claim to it, all of that kind of stuff, what the license agreements are, and you can submit some feedback here as well to us. All that form does, again, because your majority of you are going to be working behind firewalls, etc., it's going to just create a form that you can send to us via email. And however, the best way to submit your comments or your feedback is on the support portal, which I'll show you here. So we have pre-installed the Bike Data 2.3, 3, 4, 4.1, 4.2, 5, 6. And in my version, it says, there's another card here saying issue 7 ready. So when the community or the committee or whoever releases it, they release the next issue of the Bike Data, it's just a case of either I can provide an upload function that you will be able to upload it, or we'll just release a update to the free tool, and the bike data will just work as is. So we're going to focus. I can show you them. There's no big drama here. So here's issue 2.3. Here's issue 3.0. And, you know, I'm going to focus on the sweet spot, if you like, of S1000D right now, which is kind of 4.1, 4.2. So if I open up 4.1, you can see what's going on. Now, I've done a introductory to this before, and now you can see that there were some features that I hid from that original. I mean, there's still some features here that I'm hiding, but there's some features that were in the original video I did about a month or 2 months ago, I don't know, and you know, which I've decided to show you what you could have if you decided to upgrade. Okay, so that's kind of the freemium model that I've been advised to use. So I'm just going to work across, tell you what's in there, and then tell you how to get hold of it. I think that's probably the best methodology here for us to use. So we can toggle between versions of the issues of the specification. So if I want to, I can switch to issue 2.3, and now it's pushed me back. Or I can go to issue 6, and it's asked me to, you know, to move to issue 6, and to issue 4.1, which is again where I'm going to just focus today because it's just easier. In the full version, because I've got a free license installed on this particular issue, it will ask me if I want to do a compare. So what we might be able to do, what we can do is we can take a data module and compare it to a previous issue of S1000D or a newer version of S1000D and see where the bike data changed. And of course, in our premium version of this tool, we can do a compare of the previous version of a data module to a newer version of a data module. And we won't get too much into where that's being used, but a companion tool to this is something called Desk Officer, S1000D Desk Officer, and I'll do a future video on how Desk Officer actually works. The export to PDF again, the publish again, these are not available in this version because the publish style sheets that are in here right now, I think I've said it on here already. If I haven't, they are supplied by Docuneering. So what we've done, or what I've done, is I've included a printed preview of all of the data module types with the S1000D Bike Data and disabled publishing. That's just to protect Docuneering's intellectual property. I don't want people trying to break, although I've put some encrypted stuff in here, and if you break this tool, the tool will just stop working, and it will detect that some stuff has been changed, and it will switch itself off. But I wanted to protect Russell's intellectual property, so rather than having printed in here. Now, if you bought the full version, you can print, but that relies on you going to Russell or uploading your own print style sheets and using those inside the tool. So again, but that's part of the upgrade path. I've included the TDW AI indexer, and you can see here that on my machine here locally I'm running an AI environment. The tool has detected it, but what it's doing is it's asking me to upload an AI index file. Now, the reason I've left this enabled on here is because I'm going to make available a indexed AI file for the bike data that you're going to be able to download for free from my website, and I'll show you where. And therefore you will be able to do what is known as enable chat, and you can chat to the bike data. So we're getting ready to show how we can work with the bike data. Moving across here, and I'll do a full video on that because I want to show how I indexed it, what kind of stuff I extracted from there. And we have something called author tools. Again, not available in the free version, but if you are looking to learn how to write S1000D content and create or become an S1000D developer, there is a whole toolbox that supports you. So how do we look at things like common constructs? How do we work with tables, formal, informal? Those kind of things are all inside the toolkit. And so do my training, you get a free license of that for the duration of your training. And I'll talk about other trainers. I know I'm not the only person in the world that can train on this stuff. So if you are a trainer and you are teaching people how to S1000D, you can also get a license of this to support your students. We have some import export tools. I'm not going to go into too much detail what these are, but I've already shown you some previous tools that are available in the IPS Toolkit Pro. One of those is Desk Officer. One of those I don't think we've talked about yet, which is IPS Compass. We haven't talked about how you can export your business rules decisions, and you can move those over into here as well. And these are encrypted files that I create. I'm not going to show you the utility today, but I can create some encrypted files. All of the files, the author tools, the AI, etc., is all encrypted stuff. So the tool, depending on your license key, will know whether it's allowed to use it. So if you've got one of your colleagues buys a full license and then gives you the actual encrypted files, the tool's clever enough to know that you're using an incorrect key for that. If we are wanting to work with a wider S series and S1000D, we have an encrypted file that shows you mapping from other specifications and other issues of specifications into S1000D. And here we can customize our view, so I can hide and show things depending on my screen size, on how I want to work with the toolkit. I can look at the disclaimer again. So if you are, struggling to understand what we endorse and what we don't endorse, that is in here. And the upgrade button, which I'm not going to show here, because that's going to tell you pricing. Full transparency on pricing. So you can download it, install it, look at the upgrade, what's worth it for you, and what's not worth for you. And it's a perpetual license as well. So none of this subscription stuff. It's a perpetual license with future upgrades if you decide to upgrade. Okay, but you can download, install, look at the upgrade, and it will list all of the things that you get. Some of the stuff I've showed you already. And so if I move away, come back, because there is a known issue there that I'm still trying to fix. Like I said, it's still in beta. So that's the top area. Here you can see that we can navigate across modules. We can look at media types, and you can see here I've got a little note that says a huge thank you to the guys at CGM Larson, or Larson Technology Software, sorry if I'm getting that wrong, who gave me a license of their Viz Edit, so I could take the S1000D CGMs and I could convert them to SVGs, just because most people are using SVGs these days, and we want the ability to be able to view the hotspots, and I'm going to show you some of that here. We have some configuration type tools. I'm going to go through some of these with you, some delivery tools, and if there's some unassigned stuff in here. So you can see in issue 4.1 they've included some kind of mind map. That's not going to open inside here anyway, but I could do, because in the wider IPS toolkit we have a mind map capability. Anyway, down the left hand side we have modules. We can toggle between the code view, and we can toggle between the title view, so we can look for the type of data module we're looking for. We can filter by schema type. We can filter by SNS type. If I click on SNS type, I now get an open SNS structure, and this will show you a complete mind map view of this, in this case, the bike data, how the SNS is broken down, and it shows you where all of the data modules sit within inside that SNS. That's not available in this particular version because it's actually a very clever tool in terms of I can continue to build data modules on top of that. I can add my own SNS structures, I can clone, I can do lots of different things in here as well. And if we wanted to, we can filter on information codes. And an idea I had this morning is, why am I not adding a tooltip here? I could add a tooltip here, which would make things a little bit easier for us to use. Now, the identification status section, remember, this tool is designed to show the mechanics of S1000D, not how we would view the content in the real world. I'm going to talk about that here in a moment. So things like the breaking down the data module code, the little ticks are saying it's being picked up from the project Brex, or it's valid according to here. The information codes, if we had an S1000D import, a TDW S1000D import package, that would tell us exactly what that information code means. Okay, again, it will resolve that and provide a modal and show what's going on. So you can go through all of the identification status information here and look at this until your heart is content. So it's telling us that it's a valid document, and we can enter something here called focus mode. Focus mode means that we just go into the area where the content developer may want to spend the majority of their time. Of course, they wouldn't spend all of their time here, but we can filter down into the areas that are important to us. We can do a Brex check, and if I look at just here, the model ID, it tells me the daisy chaining of the Brex checking that we're doing. Remember, all these features are in the free, and I can show the XML, not in the free version. So if you want to have that's nothing stopping you opening these data modules and going and finding the XML snippet that's appropriate to you. But you can see here the daisy chaining and the defense interest group default Brex, or their Brex module, is also installed with the tool as well. We can do a pseudo emulation in terms of the ACT, the PCT, the applicabilities, and we can click on them and it tells us where this data is coming from, and we can filter out the back here, and you'll see the data start filtering here at the highest level for the bike data. We can also switch that off. We can see how S1000D comments work. So, and if you have the full license, it shows you how we auto-generate the codes for that as well, and how we can upload and attach things like spreadsheets or whatever it is we want to put in here. Now, if you want to take this and you want to copy the XML and paste it into your Oxygen or your editor, wherever it is, we can copy the XML, and now you can go and take that and paste it into your editor of choice and start working. Okay, so you don't need to have the any kind of bridge here. However, we do have on the full tool a bridge that will pass the data module and the illustrations to your tool of choice, and therefore you can start editing it and playing with it. And if you saved it, it will save it back to the directory and it will pick up your changes in here. But we have a restore default, so you can roll back all of the S1000D bike data if you want to as well. Moving over, let's go over a little bit more. So we have the WYSIWYG. Now, what's really important here, before those of you who like to just throw stones as opposed to try and be positive about this, this is a pseudo WYSIWYG, okay? And I know that these style sheets are not perfect. They are definitely work in progress. If you want to see how a data module looks, use Russell's style sheets, and you can scroll through and it will show you how it is supposed to work. Again, that persisting, I'm trying to force those images to reload. They don't always reload, so you have to, it's a known issue, I just want to get it out, is that you have to navigate away, come back. And but the WYSIWYG view kind of, what you see is what you get is kind of giving us what it could look like. But here we have something called this is the S1000D developer view, which is how you would work inside your CSDBs, how you would work in those environments. We also have a user view. Now that is not enabled in the FreeView license. And what it will do is it will give you it's, in my view, quite clever, is that you can take your data module or the entire publication and see how a maintainer, operator, user would want to engage with this content. And because there are logical things we can do in the content that we can force the users to do, so then we can, I'm trying not to give too much away, but then we can make the user experience much better for them. Okay, now I'm going to show you some different module types here shortly, because there's some functions in here that we need to be aware of. Down the right hand side here we have what I call the S1000D integrity and digital thread. It tells us what all of the internal links are, what the external links are. It tells us which Brex modules are being referenced. It tells us if there are daisy chained Brex data modules as well. And now if I just switch to, so that's clearly the easiest of data modules, the descriptive. We have some of our if you like, the procedural stuff. Now again, this is not designed to be, these style sheets are not designed for deployment, they're designed for developer mode. And yes, there are some things I need to add in here, which I will do. But here you can see that it's giving us the pseudo look and feel of what we want to have done inside here. Now there is some clever stuff going on as well. So if I work through, I've not done style sheets for absolutely everything. Again, I'm just trying to get this out on the street. And you can see that we have some look and feel type documents here. Just open this one. Here you can see that, again, thanks to the guys at Larson, I was able to quickly create a hotspot viewing tool. And so if I just click on number 2, you can see what it's doing is it's telling me where that hotspot exists inside the document. It's telling me what the XML looks like. It's giving me a pseudo WYSIWYG view, and it's also giving me the coordinates, etc. I can look at inside the SVG. So you can see in here, I can view, it's not available inside the, I thought I'd made it available. Anyway, it's not available inside the FreeView, is that I can then click on the view the hotspot data, and it will pop up a modal and it will show me all of the interconnections. So from an authoring perspective, we can connect the dots on how the hotspots, etc. work together. So the tool itself is quite functional when it comes to work, but some of the stuff that I have put in here. So here you can see how we look at things like applicabilities. It shows us what's going on with applicabilities. And you can see if I come in here, I've also got common repositories. If I look at common repositories, it gives me what's inside the common repository. I can click on an item. It tells me which data modules are using that. So I can head off and I can see what's actually going on inside my data modules. And you can see here, it tells me where they're being used, where they're not being used. And I can, here you can see that we've got some IPDs that are in here. So you can see that we've got lots of disabled process data module for the FreeView for obvious obvious reasons. And you can see that down here we have lots of cross references, etc. We can see how all of this is working mechanically to and fro. Now, if we're using common repositories, I've added a function. I don't know if I'm going to find one quickly enough to be able to show what's actually going on in here. Is that I can right click and it will show me the XML snippet so that the authors can see how we write in XML snippets for the use of common repositories, etc. So that's the tool in terms. I think I've showed you everything I'm going to show you here today. You know, if you want to look at some of that one's not a great look, but I think you can go to, let's go to 4.2, see if that one's in there. You can see that, again, the style sheets are still work in progress. What I'm doing with these style sheets, the idea is to shoot. We're not really caring too much about the look and feel here in this particular view. We care about the data relationship and how the data all works together and how it all works. I hope that gives you enough of a kind of a feel for what's inside this beta version of the tool. How do you get access to it? Okay, so we have a tool here. I'm going to just whip it across to this screen so you can see what's going on. I'm logged in with my private email address here, not as admin. So spirallearn.online. You can go to our download and installers. Those of you who are already using Spiral Learn, you're familiar with how it works. You have the courses that you have access to, upcoming events, upcoming courses, etc. You can click on the download and installers here, and the download and installers. Right now we have all of our legacy installers for the IPS Toolkit, for Mind Manager. And you are going to have the IPS Toolkit FreeView, which I'm going to upload in the next day or two, is going to be available here, and it will be exactly the same look and feel as this, although I've had a really cool idea on a feature I want to add here. Those packs that I told you about, the AI indexes, the personas, and the TDW configuration packs, etc., will all be available here, subject to the license that you have. And you can download from here, and then in the help section, hopefully I'm not going to show anything here I'm not supposed to show, you can request a license key in here. That will automatically email us to say that you have requested a license key, and we will give it to you. And the license keys are tied to email addresses. So the fact is that you will disable the key if you try to use it on multiple machines. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the FreeView. Absolutely, I appreciate that it's not perfect, or certainly not perfect for my A-type brain. I know that I want to make it way more perfect than it is. But that is it. By the time this goes live, you can create an account on Spiral Learn. Create account on Spiral Learn as soon as the installers at the time of recording this are currently building at the moment. And as soon as they are ready, I'm not going to upload Desk Officer and the full IPS Toolkit, because I just don't want people downloading stuff, asking for access to stuff. That I want to do this in a logical way in terms of being able to release this, so that I appreciate there's going to be some questions, there's going to be some comments and questions about how the tool works, which, by the way, will end up inside Spiral Learn as tutorials, because that's just easier for me to work with. There you go. That is our IPS Toolkit S1000D Studio FreeView. I did have one question on, could you not make this available for free with the S1000D download? I just don't have time or the energy for politics, and I don't have time or energy for the unnecessary level of debate that would cause. So get it from my website, and you can use the S1000D viewer from here. There you go. Anyway, hope you like it. If you do, like, share, get all your colleagues to download and install it. I'm sure that there will be a few bumps in the road whilst we iron this out, but if you do end up wanting to upgrade it to a full license, all of the details are inside of the tool. Full transparency on what you get, what you don't get. I don't think one thing I didn't show was inside here we have something called, it's actually hidden here, we have something called Style Sheet Studio. That was easy for me to say. And that only comes with IPS Toolkit Pro, which means you can take, not print style sheets, but you can take the HTML style sheets that I've created, and you can customize them and make them look and feel how you want them to look and feel. So there you go. That's it. That's what it does. And hopefully you'll enjoy it and like it. And as much as it's taken me nearly 8 months to put this tool together at this state, and I've still got a bucket load of things that I want to put inside here. And yeah, I just want to get it on the streets so I can get it in the hands of people so they can start sending me feedback and comments. And you can then, yeah, hopefully you can enjoy it as much as I enjoyed building it. Anyway, I'm Mike. There you go. Subscribe, like, share, all of that kind of nonsense. And I'm going to publish this, and it's a beautiful sunshine day today, so I'm going to go and get myself out for a walk.